Bismillah Rahman Rahim. The ni'mat connected with an effort, particularly the effort of Sahaba. We are not able to explain in words. It's not possible. It is not a question of making bayans, not a talk, but a tazkir. Make one aware, because the benefit is how one feels in the heart, not just words in the ears. Because what we can understand from the effort as was done by Sahaba cannot understand just for talks or from the books. So what I want to do is to make this muzakara with you, to remind each other. And what I say, all of it is not about words, but it's all about actions. If practically we do this, we do what we are asking, then guaranteed hidayat for us. Guarantee for hidayat, provided we do it practically. What I'm going to say, if we do it practically, guaranteed hidayat. Not just hope or expectations, but guarantee. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised, has guaranteed hidayat on that effort that was done by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam or Sahaba Ikram. Other than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba, no matter how important or how well known that effort is, doesn't matter how many, even if majority is doing the effort, other than the effort of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam or Sahaba Ikram, none of that effort will produce any result whatsoever for dunya or akhirah. Imam Malik rahimullah, that after the Sunnah, those who come after the time of Sahaba, those who come after the time of Sahaba, there can be no reformation unless they make an effort the way it was done in the early days. If we wish reformation in the society, and we wish to bring some changes in ourselves, it's only possible and dependent on that effort that was done by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sahaba Ikram. Their effort and the methodology as well of their effort, that methodology, only that will bring the results. Unfortunately, there's so many that we have mixed with the effort of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and a lot of harm because of that tradition being mixed with the effort of Nabi. Doesn't matter to say how many hours is taken for bayan. What's more important is that what Hazrat Ji used to say, that hidayah and the nur of hidayat will come into your heart proportionate to the effort resembling the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sahaba Ikram. As much we imitate the effort of Nabi and Sahaba, as much we imitate this guarantee of hidayat and help of Allah. Any effort other than that, no guarantee of effort, no guarantee of hidayat, or no guarantee of the nusrat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's important that all of us make this a firm intention in our heart, that our effort, we will bring it back according to the Sunnah and make it subject to the way of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sahaba Ikram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has connected hidayah with the ways of Nabi and Sahaba Ikram sallallahu Sahaba Ikram. This nakul harkat, this da'wat, through this what we wish to do is to revive that effort as was done in the early days. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا, that the hidayah is dependent on that effort of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No other way. Take this out of your mind. Take this out of your mind that we just want to practice deen and you can learn deen anywhere. This is wrong, because in order to get to a certain space, certain place, one has to adopt acquired means. You cannot adopt any other means to reach your destination. Cannot guide you. You have to adopt, unless the ways that are adopted are closer to Sunnah, there can be no hidayat. There can be no reformation. It's wrong to say you can get hidayat from all different ways. What we are saying, that the hidayat can only be had only through that effort as was done by Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Sahaba Ikram. We have to imitate the ways of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Sahaba Ikram. Our effort has to resemble the effort of Sahaba Ikram. Entire deen is dependent on one thing, Iman. In order to acquire Iman, what is the Sunnah way of acquiring Iman? Not just to talk of Iman and read the discussion on Iman or listen to talk of Iman. You cannot have Iman. But the way to acquire Iman is to make an effort on others to take them out of such an environment which is against the requirements of Iman. This was the way of Sahaba Ikram. This is what they did. Mu'az ibn Jabal, Abdullah ibn Rawaha, Umar ibn al-Khattab, Ubay ibn Ka'b, Abu Huraira, radiallahu anhum, ajma'in. All of them, they are fuqaha. They are the important people of the society, or the low ones of the society, ulama and qari. Like Rasulullah said about Umar, if there had been a Nabi after me, would have been Umar. Such Sahaba. And the Shaykhul Muhaddisin, Abu Hurairah, he is one of those. All of them, that was their way, that was their tradition, which we find from the Sirah of Sahaba. They would go to all of them on one-to-one basis and to invite them, let's go and sit in the halqa of Iman to talk about Iman, to listen to talk of Iman, so we can have Iman. To learn and develop yaqeen and learn Iman, that way, the way of Sahaba, that way, that method is required for every Jamaat in every masjid. So one to move away from the effort of Sahaba, the way they did, and to come back just to make a bayan, this is not right. Because that's not the way of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Sahaba Ikram. Just to go and collect people and make bayans. All of those Sahaba that I have narrated, all of them, that was their way, that they would go and beg each other, come bina mu'min sa'atan, come sit with us for a short while so we can have Iman. Come with us so we can have Iman. Sit with us so we can have Iman for a short while. I bring you and let's sit down and talk about Iman so that my Iman increases. This was the way of these Sahaba. Also, I wish that I would to narrate this as well, that the Masjid Jamaat, this is not just their way, that amal of the Masjid and the Mugibat, the Muzakara of the Mugibat, they just leave that alone and go out and meet everyone and talk to them about Deen and Iman and think that I've done my job. This is not right. This is not enough. Maulana Ilyas Rahmatullah used to say that the Tabligh is not just to take your words from your mouth to the ears, but to make one understand so it reaches the heart. That's where it has to reach the heart, not just the ears. And that's where the hidayat comes, when it reaches the heart. Hadith Qudsi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, one who comes to walking towards me, I'll run towards him. Up till now, the Jamaats of our masjids, they have not understood or taken it in their heart. It's up to the ears. To meet someone just for the sake of meeting someone, this is not da'wat. Hazrat Ji used to say that to go out of your bedrooms, to go out of your working places, to go out of your jobs, to come out of what you were involved with and come to the masjid and sit together to talk about, you talk about Khaliq-e-Kainat so much that the makhluk, the importance of makhluk can be taken out of your heart. Because the strength of Iman is only in the masjid. That's where one can have strength of Iman. You want to make your Iman stronger, is the environment of the masjid. That was the real place for ta'lim and tarbiyah and Iman. So the tajdeed of Iman, increase of Iman and the renewal of Iman is to bring them to the masjid and talk about the mugibat and Khaliq-e-Kainat. When like hadith, that when you see someone going to the masjid, be guaranteed he has Iman. That only those who make the masjid alive with the amal, those who have Iman. So masjid is our focus. That's the focal point. That's the place of our gathering. Those who have Iman, masjid. And the basic function of the masjid is to establish the halakat of Iman and mugibat by going out on visiting one by one, not just talking to them over there, but to take them out of whatever they're involved in and bring them to the masjid and make them sit in the halaqah of this Iman and mugibat. Abdullah ibn Rawaha said to someone, come so we can become mu'min for a short while. Sahabi said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that that's Abdullah ibn Rawaha, he's asking us, let's have Iman. We already have Iman on you, Ya Rasulullah. What kind of Iman is Abdullah ibn Rawaha talking about? Rasulullah said, he is talking about that kind of Iman, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes so proud, and the angels of that kind of Iman that people will have. That when we go out of the masjid, don't leave the masjid without the amal. Some amal to be taking place in the mashra, to mashra, leave some brothers behind in the masjid who are able to give da'wat, ta'aruf and da'wat, infradi da'wat. And one group goes out and calls them to the masjid. One group stays in the masjid and able to talk and give da'wat to those who come to the masjid. Most important sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is sunnah da'wah. Infradi da'wat is the most important thing. Talking about one-to-one basis. Infradi da'wah, to convey the message of deen in any which way, it is not enough. Today we've got so many different electronics and gadgets and media, so many that are being used. This is not sufficient. It will not be sufficient. We will not be able to present that as an excuse to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we used this electronic media. This is not the way. This is not how we can convey to the people. So it comes to the heart. The conveyance, the conveyance of this message is what Allah has told Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Balligh, O Nabi, Balligh, how it has been revealed to you. That's how you convey to others. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went himself wherever he could go. Where he couldn't go, he sent Jamaats to take the message of Deen and to move around this movement to take this message. There's no replacement for it. Know this. One-to-one basis, there's no replacement. Cannot be exchanged with anything else. One who thinks we can do this job some other way, he is thinking against the Sunnah and against nature, because there's no way you can convey the message unless you through the eye contact, unless on one-to-one basis, face to face. The effect of your message is more through those skills, the interpersonal skills, cannot be through the gadgets. Our dawat is based on nakal harka, in moving around from one place to the other, meeting face to face, eye contact, no replacement, no substitute whatsoever, no substitute. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right from the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose and selected human beings, not machinery, not equipments. Because human being cannot be replaced by gadgets and electronics. Don't ever think that you have done your job using those electronic media, because our effort is practical effort. One-to-one basis, to go individually, talking to them about one-to-one basis, because a da'i is the one who is longing for it. And what is our objective is the entire ummah. I need them, my need, and I need them. For the non-Muslims, that to bring them to such a stage that they can see no the way out other than coming to the fold of Islam. Not through force, but through persuasion. Bring them to such a level that they think the only way out for my solutions is to come into the fold of Islam. This is the nusra from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That can only be possible when you talk on one-to-one basis. Only with infradi da'wah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, once he was traveling with Sahaba. There was a man walking around, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam cut across and met him. When he came close to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam started to give da'wat. So he said, I accept what you say, but who's your witness? What you're saying to me is truth. What I'm trying to explain to you, how you can, this is the nusra from ghaib. This is the help of Allah. Rasulullah didn't say, my Sahaba will be witness. Rasulullah said, my witness is that tree in the corner. That's my witness. Rasulullah said, come. And the tree with all its fruits came running towards Rasulullah. He said, indeed you are the Rasul of Allah. Indeed you are Rasul of Allah. A tree is talking. That wanderer accepted Islam immediately. He says, indeed you are the truthful one. So what I want to say, that you cannot expect help of Allah through the traditional ways. Don't go after the tradition. Go towards Sunnah. That's our basis. Because through traditions, the traditions will rise, not Deen. Deen and traditions, the in thing, the traditions, the culture, or the present day culture, this will flourish by using these things. The only way deen can spread is through the effort, as much we are close to the sunnah. Go out from the masjid, one-to-one basis, bring them to the masjid and talk to them in the environment of the masjid. This is the way of Nabi. This is closer to the sunnah of Sahaba. Imam Bukhari, one chapter, just in Bukhari, that can Iman be increased to the majlis of Iman? We have gone, unfortunately, so far away. We have removed ourselves so far away that even some are questioning, is that the only way? Is that the only way we can have Iman and strengthen our Iman? Imam Bukhari Rahmatullah Alayh, in Bukhari Sharif, there's a chapter in Bukhari and has proven without any doubt that the majlis of Iman is the source of increase in your Iman. And from the amal of Muaz ibn Jabal, proven from his amal that he will go and beg others, please come and sit with me for a short while. We can talk, we can have this muzakara of Iman. So I am requesting each one of you, when you go back to your masjid, daily you establish halqa of Iman and mugibat. You know mugibat? Amantu billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulihi. So we bring them to the masjid, get them to sit in your halakat, to talk about Iman and mugibat. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first effort he made on Sahaba to become part of the masjid. Strong wind blew, come to the masjid. Earthquake, come to the masjid. Have a problem, come to the masjid. It's a dispute, come to the masjid. Not just ibadat, but for all of our social reasons, come to the masjid. Everything takes place in the masjid. Unfortunately, today we have disassociated ourselves so much from the masjid that there's only one amal that's left in the masjid, is 5 times daily salat. Instead, in the early days, at the masjid, there was always the halakat of ta'aleem and zikr and ibadat, and that as they were talking about, they were doing muzakaras, then they all stand up, oh, let's go and let's pray our salat. One sahabi, he had Abu Umama under debt. He was sitting in the masjid. Abu Umama, why are you sitting here? Yes, I'm so much under debt. I'm so much under debt. I'm worried. I don't know what to do. Shall I not tell you a dua that even if you have debt as much as the mountains of Yemen will be removed? You please tell me. Please tell me the dua. Who is deserving? Abu Umama. Of this dua, Abu Umama. Where? In the masjid. Oh, Abu Umama, I'll teach you a dua. Even if you're under debt, as much as the mountains of Yemen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will create such Allah minni a'udhu bika minal hammi wal hasan. You know that dua that was taught by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Abu Umama. That dua, Muslim dua, isne has seen. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave ta'aleem when he was under so much worried about heavy under debt. Rasulullah taught him dua. This was the use of the masjid. Unfortunately today, we are not in the mood of giving time to the masjid other than salat time. Unfortunately today, we become in the habit. We accept and understand what is in the in thing. Everybody is doing something, we accept this. It's easy for us to accept what's traditional. فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله. After salat, go out and search your sustenance. The fadl of Allah, go out and search for fadl of Allah. You ask anyone, they'll say, yes, salat is over, now you go to your businesses. This is not what this ayat means. Salat is over, now you can go and go to your business. Ibn Abbas says that from this ayah is not about talabe risk. From this ayah is talabe ilm. This is the fadl of Allah. Ilm. If salat is over, go and sit in halqa of ilm. Not that church. If your salat is over, you can go leave the masjid. If you want to go out of the masjid, only for 3 jobs. 1, to go and visit a Muslim for an ill person, or to accompany a janaza to the graveyard. I'm stating this because often, unfortunately, people don't know. Yes, I know that I can, yes, after salat is over, I can go back to my shop, or my business, or my farm. So it's allowed, it's permissible for one to leave the masjid. You're not forbidden. But we were also told that the azan has been made, and till the salat, not allowed to conduct business between azan and salat. If it was told to Sahaba, no business, they would have left business till their death. Sahaba Ikram, they would not look for excuses. They would just listen and obey. Ibn Abbas, he is tafsir. Go out the masjid for your business. Excuse me. After salat is over, to sit in halqa of ilm. Halqa of ilm, this is preferable than going out and sitting in the shop. More rewarding sitting in halqa of ilm. If there were, Ibn Abbas says, if I didn't have 3 jobs in dunya, I would have left dunya and go and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First is to go out in the path of Allah. Some people are saying, is this a job to do? Tabligh, is this something to do? Ibn Abbas says, if there were not 3 jobs, I would not wish to live on earth. I live on earth only for these 3 jobs. First job, go out in the path of Allah, wander around for the sake of Allah. On earth, to do long sajda on earth. And third, to sit in the halaqah of ilm long whiles, and to create this desire in my heart to search ilm like I would search good dates out of a whole heap of dates. So I'm requesting you that for the sake of Allah, look at how you are doing tabligh. Bring it back to sunnah, not tradition. Not what everybody is doing, but sunnah. Make sure it conforms everything you do, every amal of tabligh you do on the way of sunnah. Sunnah is not just how to eat and drink and sleep. Often people think that sunnah is either ibadat or with society or with our muamalat. No, it's more than that. Always remember this, that like every need of our body, we have to fulfill on sunnah. Similarly, in da'wah, sunnah has been determined. This is how you do da'wat. So we have to bring it back from tradition to the sunnah, how we give da'wat. That's why I'm repeating. That's why I'm repeating to you that this is the job of those who sit in the masjid as a jamaat. You buy mashwara, you go and remind and bring Muslims to the masjid. Connect them to the masjid. Don't discard anyone, thinking no, that he doesn't need to come or doesn't deserve to come to the masjid. Don't discard. Even one ordinary person who says he is a Muslim is more valuable in the sight of Allah than anything in this earth. Even more than Baitullah. One Muslim who says I'm a Muslim, he is more valuable than even Baitullah. To invite a Muslim to come to the masjid and talk to him about deen, this is what's required. not just to go and meet him and sit there and talk, but to go there, to bring him to the masjid, in the environment of the masjid, where there's the mahal, the environment of tarbiyah. That's when you talk to him in the masjid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so pleased to meet someone who comes to the masjid more than you are pleased when you meet someone you haven't seen for a long time. Allah is so happy. So when you see someone, you're so happy, you're smiling and giggling, mouth wide open, hands spread out, like you haven't seen that brother for many, many years. He was your friend. This is how you meet every Muslim. And bring them to the masjid. What they will be able to understand in the masjid, they won't be able to go out. They will be able to understand out of the masjid. Doesn't matter what kind of environment is out of the masjid. What they can understand the masjid, they cannot understand, no matter how important that environment is out of the masjid. To follow one Sahabi. This is the effect of Dawat Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Why was there so much? Why was Dawat of Rasulullah was so effective? Tufail, he came to Mecca and he was told, don't listen to Muhammad, because anyone who listens to talk of Muhammad, he changes. So he says, I put cotton wool in my ears. I don't want to hear what Muhammad is going to say. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He blocked his ears. I don't want to listen to the talk of Muhammad. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Tufail, radiallahu, I put cotton wool, I blocked my ears, and that's how I entered Baitullah. And I saw Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was doing salat. My heart said, I must listen to what he has to say. I'm not stupid. I'm intelligent enough. At least I should listen to what he has to say. So I took out the wool out of my ears. And though before he came, he was so determined. No way I'm going to hear any word from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, from Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Entered the masjid, listened to talk of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The moment he heard the words of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, immediately he accepted Islam and he said, please give me permission. I want to go back to my tribe and talk to them and invite them towards Islam. Immediately. How effective was the da'wat of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? So what we have to do is to bring back this effort of tabligh on the way of Sahaba, the seerah of Sahaba. And a tribe of Saqif came to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. All of them came. They said, we will accept Islam, but we will not pray salat, we will not give zakat, will not do jihad. And for 3 years we will not destroy our idols. Rasulullah said, yes, you'll have to pray salat, because there is no Islam without salat. You'll have to pray salat. Your statue, you don't have to use your own hands. Your idols, I'll send someone who will smash them. Rasulullah kept them, stay in the masjid, and said to Sahaba, I've asked them to come and sit in the masjid, so that Allah may soften their hearts for Islam in the environment of the masjid. Not just one story, many, many incidents. If we read Hayatul Sahaba, then we will learn how much effort was done by Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam from the ways of Sahaba to connect Muslims with the seerah of Sahaba. In Hayatul Sahaba, there's a chapter, why were the masjids built and what the Sahaba used to do in the masjid. I say that with full responsibility, that in this effort, those who do this effort, it's important that you get this realization that through this effort only tarbiyah is possible. If you think we are working but tarbiyah is not taking place, it's because what we are doing is away from the seerah of Sahaba. So you spent 4 months, you spent 40 days, but no changes, it's because that 40 days, that 4 months have not been spent the way Sahaba Ikram did. The way they did 7 day time, not just 40 days or 4 months. This is a system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sahaba Ikram, role model for the rest of the ummah. If you don't adopt the ways of Sahaba and then think no changes, we have to question how we did spend our time. One man was a thief. He was caught stealing. So he was brought to the masjid and prison in the masjid, kept tied up to a pole in the masjid so that he can see the environment, and he changes. And he changed. He gave up stealing. Tufail radiallahu anhu, he said he became Muslim, and then he said, I want to go back to my tribe because I'm the chief of my tribe. I want to go and give them dawat with our sacrifice and the effort on the way of Sahaba. One who does this only with sacrifice, only his words will penetrate the hearts of others. The effect in dawat is based on the sacrifices they're making, not just words. Because when they say something, they say with full conviction, because there's a sacrifice behind their words. Not just to spend time, not just that I've done my jawla, I've done my mashra, I've done my talim, but with what sacrifice? This sacrifice is a condition for Allah to accept our amal. Every amal has to be done with sacrifice. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses a Nabi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring them to that level to raise their status. First Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts them through tests. Inni ja'iluka linnasi imama. After a long sacrifice, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ibrahim will make you imam of the ummah. But after a lot of sacrifices. So don't think that now I am a tabligh, I'm a worker of tabligh. Only if I'm doing on the way of Sahaba, only then I can say I'm doing tabligh. What is accepted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? These are the two things we do on the way of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sahaba Ikram. Tufail Dosi, he said, I'll go back to my tribe, they will accept Islam because they accept my words. So it so happened, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made so possible that when he went back home, he gave them dawat and they all refused. Came back to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hidayat is not through our actions or our words or with money or with our status. Hidayat is dependent on that methodology that was used by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sahaba Ikram. Nothing to do with what we possess or who we are. He came back, Ya Rasulullah, my tribe, those, they have all refused. You make dua for them, they all are cursed. Curse them. Rasulullah said, no. Tufail, you go back, make an effort, and I'll make dua for. Because like you, there are many like you in your tribe. Abu Huraira, the chief of all muhaddiseen, he was a Dos, he was from Dos, and he became a Muslim because of dawah of Tufail Dosi. Tufail, you go back, like you, there are many diamonds like you in your Kabila Dos. Ya Rasulullah, you give me a sign when I go back to them, which will help me to convince them. It's not based on our karama, who we are, or our possessions, or our words. The miracles of Anbiya, this is not the part of our effort. This is not like what's the objective is and the purpose is. that you have become a real pious person. What is required is the effort and sacrifice. That's what the objective is. That you continue to give sacrifice. If you wish that just how I am inside my spiritual level, that people will get hidayat just because of my contact, this is not possible. Imam al-Anbiya, because of his own, of course there's no extent to his spirituality. Khatam al-Nabiyyin, Imam al-Anbiya, regardless, in spite of his status as a Nabi, Rasulullah says that for this amal of da'wat, what the problems I've been put through, no one else has suffered as much I suffered for this da'wat. The suffering and the pain and the anguish of this effort of da'wat, you will only find on the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Pain and suffering doesn't exist in any other effort for da'wat, only in da'wat and tabligh of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The suffering and the hardship and the struggle, it's not just on your spirituality that people will change. So Tufail asked, Ya Rasulullah, give me some signs, so when I can go back, they will have more, they will be able to believe more than my words. Sahaba Ikram say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in between his two eyes and the forehead, there was such light that light would be in front of them. And he made dua, Ya Allah, because if I go with this light on my forehead, people might think he's become a Muslim, so Allah has changed his face has been changed. So he made dua, Ya Allah, remove and shift this light away from my forehead somewhere else. Otherwise my people will say, because he accepted Islam, his face has changed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala transferred that light away from his forehead towards his stick. On his stick. Wherever he went with his stick, the light. Even that was not enough when we begged to his house. And people refused. Then he came back. Oh Tufail, you keep on doing the effort. You keep on doing the effort. What is demanded from each one of us, it's not the results, it's the sacrifice. Continue to do the effort. The result is not expected of you. Results is in Allah's hands. That Tufail, none of his tribe heard anything, but after few years of effort, 80 families he brought with him at Khaybar after a few years. So what I was saying, what one is able to understand in the environment of the masjid, you will not be able to understand in the environment other than masjid. In every masjid, halqa of iman and mugibat. Meet people and bring them to the masjid, to the environment of the masjid. Encourage them. Those who have an excuse, talk to them. But do ask them to give some time for the masjid. The way that one is able to transfer the yaqeen is in the heart, and the place is in the masjid. Because the purpose of our da'wat is to change our yaqeen away from makhluk towards khaliq, and that will happen in the heart. This is the purpose. The yaqeen, Hazrat used to say that if I was to give a name or give a title to this effort we are making, I would have made it as the movement for iman. If I was to give a name to it, I would have named it movement of iman. Taaleem of iman. What is iman? Iman bil ghaib is the reality. That's the basis. Iman bil ghaib. What you see and accept, this is not iman. This is not iman, what you see and accept. Kuffar of Makkah, whatever they would hear, they will ask an evidence. An evidence for it. So even this, in this day and age, a Muslim says that the Rasul has said this, but I can't see it happening. Rasul said this, but I don't see the results. I don't see it happening. But my dear brothers, na'uzu billah, this used to be the temperament, the way of kuffar and mushrikeen. Muslim doesn't say that. What's the evidence? Where is the result? Who is the witness? Iman of a Muslim is that he hears the news and the words of Rasulullah, he considers it to be the truth and absolute truth. No room for doubt. Not even an iota of doubt. Because what Rasulullah used to convey, the fadail of amal, kuffar used to say. Kuffar would hear these promises of Rasulullah on the amal. They would want to see the result. But Sahaba, they would listen to the fadail of amal and they would look to the amal. What amal we have to do so we can get this fadila. So we listen to the promises of Allah and Allah's Rasul and we look to the conditions. Our conditions have changed. This is the temperament of kuffar and mushrikeen, because they would hear the fadail of iman and they look to the conditions. Khandak, hunger, dark, cold, night, nothing to fight with, nothing even to defend. Even those conditions, here it is, Rasulullah even giving them the news of the Romans and the Persian Empire to be under their feet. In those conditions, think about it. They were afraid of the kuffar mushrikeen attacking Medina. Hungry, dark, cold. In those conditions, Rasulullah giving promises of Romans and the Persian empires, just so that a munafiq, his nifaq can become apparent and the iman of a mu'min can be apparent, because he believes. He doesn't look for the results. This is how Sahaba Ikram would increase their iman and kuffar, their nifaq would increase. Iman increases from the news of Rasulullah. So today, in these conditions, what Rasulullah said, we believe it to be absolute truth. This is for the aim for every Muslim, because such iman that stops you from committing haram, this is for the aim on every Muslim. Because the door is only Allah. Allah is the only one able to and capable of doing anything whatsoever. Only Allah. So just to believe in the creation, this is how you benefit from the treasures of Allah. You have to take out this dependence on what Allah has created. Only then you can benefit from Allah Himself. This to believe and put your trust and dependence or reliance on what you see, you're deprived from the treasures of Allah when you believe in what Allah has created. This is the summary of all the ayat of Quran. That this is a stepping stone to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only that person will be able to acquire that kind of iman, like Ibrahim alayhi salam, that kept on negating and rejecting everything that he saw, whether you turn to east or turn to west. This is not what's required, but what's required, that your heart changes only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like Ibrahim Islam made this announcement, away from the makhluk towards the one who has created the makhluk. Easy to say, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just because someone says, I am a believer, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not accept their iman until he is put to test for that iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see, has he changed? Has he changed his direction? Entire kingdom of Nimrud is in a position against one person. This is all imtihan for him. This was all a test of Iman of Ibrahim al-Islam. To speak the truth, this is not what is demanded. To stay steadfast on the truth, this is what's demanded. To remain firm on your truth, this is what's demanded. Conditions will change, but you remain steadfast, this is what you require, what's required. Siddiq Akbar, he is Siddiq because everyone thought about it. Siddiq, without thinking, he said, I believe. This is not against the truth. This is that to think about, this is not Iman. There can be no doubt. Only then you can have that Iman. If you have a bit of doubt, this is not Iman. And without imtihan, without your Iman being tested, Alif Lam Mim, Afahasib an-nas yutraku, that do you think that we will accept your Iman and we're not going to test you? We will surely test you. What is your Iman? What you say, we want to test you. Do you mean this? Ibrahim al-Islam is being thrown into the fire. And the creation, the largest creation of Allah, Jibreel Islam, who brings the angel in control of the oceans and mountains. I can bring this mountain and throw on them, or I can bring the entire ocean and drop on the fire. What is it that you desire? Even at that time, for Ibrahim Islam to say, I don't need you. This is Iman. This is Iman. When you are facing those conditions and say, I don't need you, I need Allah. Ibrahim Islam, to put it in fire, he did not adopt any means. He did not allow any medium to come between him and Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you do not take medium between me and you, I will also not use any medium between me and you. I will put out the fire directly myself. This is the effort that is being required, is being made, so that as we go about our business, as we roam around, we will be tested. Every step of the way, we reject and deny everything that we come across and see. That nothing can happen unless Allah wills. No fear or hope from anything or anyone other than Allah. All fear or hope only from Allah. There's absolutely no importance to all these scientists and technologists. Don't put your trust in what the scientists say. Nothing can happen unless Allah wills. Very easy for us. We become habitual. Our habit, inshallah. We go around saying, inshallah. We don't even ponder for a moment to think, what am I saying? We even forget with saying, inshallah. Somebody reminds, then we say, inshallah. We don't even know. So Rasulullah was asked, who was Ashab Kahf? Rasulullah didn't know. He did not know who Ashab Kahf were. Because a Nabi only knows what he's been told by Allah. Other than that knowledge from Allah, they don't know anything. If a Nabi says, I don't know this, how can anyone claim, I know what's going to happen tomorrow? Who can claim this? Rasulullah went to a wedding. The girls were singing, our Nabi knows what's going to happen tomorrow. He stopped them. No, I do not know what's going to happen tomorrow. He did not know the story of Ashab Kahf. He said, I'll tell you tomorrow. And in reality, of course, my teacher is Allah himself. And he knows everything. I'll ask him and he'll tell me. He didn't say, I'll tell you. I'll ask Allah and He'll tell me. Except at this occasion, he forgot, or he was made to forget, inshallah. For 15 days, no wahi. Why did you say, I'll tell? Why didn't you say, I will tell if Allah wills? وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِشَيْءٍ إِنِّي فَاعِلٌ ذَلِكَ غَدًا إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. Oh my Nabi, never ever say this, I'll do this. That always say, inshallah, only if Allah wills. Every intention that we make, we submit that to the will of Allah. This is the demand of Iman. This is part of our Iman. That we have to take us out of this ignorance that scientists say this will happen tomorrow, this is the weather, and that sort of thing. They say this is all the predictions. And what we hear, we base our decisions on what we have heard of these so-called scientists and technologists. The knowledge of future is only with Allah. The ilmul ghaib is only with Allah. And someone who says he's ilmul ghaib to search that he's got ilmul ghaib or not, this is kufr. This is kufr. Ali radiallahu anhu came out to fight an enemy. Somebody said to him, don't go out. My calculation, he was a palmist. My calculation, he was the reader of the stars. So I consider this is wrong. You should be going out because you'll be harmed, because I'll tell you what the right time is. Even though they were particular about Salat and Zakat and Hajj. But to inquire of the palmists or reading your stars, today everybody thinks, what's our need? Find out. This is shirk, and shirk. One who was astronomer, he said, Ali radiallahu anhu, do not go tonight, you'll fail. I'll tell you what the right time is after reading the stars. Ali radiallahu anhu said, I will deny and reject what you're saying. I'll go out right now. So the astronomer that he said to him in Medina can tell you what is in the stomach of your mare. Ali said, only Allah knows. Whoever believes in you, he will find his abode in Jahannam. Ilmul ghaib only with Allah, no one else. The knowledge of the future, ilmul ghaib is only with Allah, no one else can claim. All the system that we see, don't put your trust in the system. Qudrat of Allah, you put your trust in. Part of your Iman. These are all systems as a test for us. We are under test. So in your bayan, whenever you make your bayan, imaniyat should be a major portion of your talk of Iman. This is the ruh of our talk. This is the ruh of our da'wat. Stories or subjects or talks, don't talk about those, don't bring those in your talk, in your bayan. Always, I talk about Allah, His qualities, or His ahkam. That's what you talk about in bayan. Unfortunately today, as much knowledge we have acquired, then people unfortunately get together. As much a person has got ilm, people get together to listen to the ilm. Our da'wat is based on increasing, our da'wat is based on encouraging a person to believe. What will increase their iman? This is what we talk. Some Sahabi said, they came out, some people were sitting and one man was talking. What's happening? He said, he's an allama, he knows. He is a man who's a soothsayer, who's a smooth talker. He knows the history of Arabs more than anyone else. Sahaba said, leave him alone. Come, let's sit and talk about Allah. So some got all Sahaba away from him just to talk about the history of Arabs and the traditions. Nonsense. Let's just sit and talk about Allah. This is the first reason, is to talk about Allah and the stories of Anbiya. In abundance, in all your talks, talk about the stories of Anbiya, because this will bring a firm conviction of yaqeen in your heart when we listen and talk about the stories of Anbiya, what happened to them. وَكُلُّنَا نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself says that, Ya Rasulullah, to make you firm of Iman, firm on Iman, we narrate the stories of previous nations and Anbiya to you. So you can have firm Iman. So this is the first step to have a firm conviction of Iman. The sabab is to talk about Anbiya, greatness of Allah and Anbiya. Third reason for the strength of our Iman is Sahaba Ikram. Read about Sahaba, Hayatu Sahaba, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped them without any reason or logic from the heavens direct. We read those stories, so our Iman increases. It's important for us that whatever, how Allah treated them and helped them against all odds, bring that into your bayans. Then our hearts will be diverted away from makhluk towards the Khaliq. And that's the maqsad of our bayan. And unfortunately these days people are talking about Iman in such a way as if they know all about that's hidden. Only Allah knows when there will be rain. And then and they say, all these weather forecasters, they'll tell us if it's going to rain tomorrow or not. And Allah says, only I know when it's going to rain. And we put our trust in the weather forecasts. The only way to benefit from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to deny all the news that you hear about those who make predictions. We'll have to deny, not from our tongue, but from the heart. Anyone other than Allah, no benefit or harm from them. You'll have to say this and you'll have to feel it, and that's what you have to hear it. Like no one knows the day of judgment. Similarly, no one can claim when it's going to rain. The forecasters say it's going to rain, or you're all happy. It's going to rain tomorrow for my farms. And when the weather forecast says it's not going to rain, you get despondent. One man in the prison, he had some need. So he said to the jailer, I need some water for my ghusl. He needed to ghusl. He needed to have a bath, the required bath. So he said, no, only water for drink, not for your bath, not for your ghusl. He says, okay, give me few glasses of my future, 4 or 5 days of glasses. So because I cannot discard salat and I need ghusl, I can go without, I can tolerate thirst, but I cannot discard salat. To look for excuses in our life to the material things, this is a reason for deprivation from the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I said, give me all my ration of next few days, give me today, because I want to pray. Jailer said, no water. Tomorrow's water, tomorrow, only today's water, 1 glass. We cannot give you future 5 or 6 glasses for your ghusl. How do we benefit from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We have to adopt the means. Those who depend on human beings, on others like them, they will remain destitute all their life. How we benefit from Allah is to obey Allah's commands. Ya Allah, I want to pray. I want to obey you. I want to worship you. No water. I need ghusl. No water. In the tradition, we hear a cloud came inside the jail. It rained just on him. Just enough for his ghusl. The rain, the cloud. It's a Ma'a Mubaraka. Rainwater, the best water is rainwater. Pure. And the cloud came in the jail and showered on him. This is help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you say you have this desire, I want to obey, I want to worship, Allah will make it, bring that cloud and shower on you and fulfill your need. Kalima la ilaha illallah. The demands of this kalima and its reality is not just that we can get help from Allah against all odds. Not just that. Kalima la ilaha illallah demands that for the pleasure of Allah, complete obedience, whether or not we get the help from Allah or not. Continue to obey Allah. So don't think that now I have never ever think I've got Kamil Iman, so Allah will help me like Allah helped Sahaba. This is not the objective, this is not the purpose. The purpose of our Iman is obedience of Allah in all conditions. For the rida of Allah, for the pleasure of Allah. That the miracles happen. This is a promise of Allah, but this is not your purpose of ibadat. What is required is submission to the will of Allah, obey Allah's commandments. This is the essence of this kalima. This is what requires. This is the ikhlas of this kalima, that we seek nothing, no reward. What's this ikhlas of this kalima? This kalima la ilaha illallah will stop you from haram. This is the ikhlas of this kalima. So Iman with these signs of Iman, this is what should be in your bayan. Iman with these signs of Iman. One Sahabi asked, Ya Rasulullah, what is Iman? Rasulullah said, when you do something good and you feel happy, and if you do something bad and you feel sad, this is sign of Iman. This is the Iman. When Hasana pleases you, and Masiyah displeases you and you feel sad, this is Iman. We should check ourselves. Do I feel sad by committing disobedience and feel happy by obey Allah? Check yourself. So talk about Iman, the sign of Iman, and look in yourself for the signs of Iman. Do I have signs of Iman? Do I have Iman? Do I have Iman? Signs of Iman in a mu'min are clear and evident. Like you see sun at midday, more evident. That sun at midday are the signs of Iman in a mu'min. A mu'min from head to toe, he is decorated in sunnah to such an extent that just look at him and he says he's a person of Iman, he's a mu'min. Just looking at someone. One Jamaat came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 7 men in the Jamaat. The narrator says that I was one of those 7. Strange recitation. It's an Hayat Sahaba. Hadithul Qamar. 7 brothers in a Jamaat. So some saw them. Who are you? Who are you? No, he didn't say who are you. He said, what are you? Is the difference? Not who are you, what are you? One who discards deen and the effort of deen, you tend to recognize him with his profession. I'm a farmer, I'm a trader, I'm a businessman, I have a job, I'm a soldier. So one tends to identify himself with the profession. Those who don't have deen or practice deen. So those Sahaba, all of them said, all 7 of them, we have Iman. This is who we are, we have Iman. What is the sign of your Iman? What is the sign of Iman? How can you say you have Iman? So they said, we have 15 qualities in us. Question about Iman, answer about the qualities. Signs, 15 signs. Some 5 we believe, 5 we in as amal, and 5 from our days of Jahiliyyah before we become Muslims. 15, very easy and simple. Those 15 qualities, 15 signs of Iman. Indeed, if you make an effort and bring those 15 qualities in yourself, signs in yourself, to suddenly say that those who have 15 qualities, signs that he is Iman or he is Wali of Allah, but the tradition says that you are Fuqaha, you are Khutaba, and it was very close that all of you would have become prophets with these 15 signs of Iman. Very close to becoming Anbiya if you have with these 15 signs of Iman. So what are those signs? First, we believe in Allah. And we believe in His angels. What does that mean? I believe in angels. Just words. Angels are such an entity, pure, slaves of Allah. Anbiya never called angels for help. Never. Angels, they are sent for the service of mankind, of those who have Iman. Such for dua. Angels make dua for those who have Iman. Those angels who are lifting the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, such for dua they make for those who are believers. Such dua that even if we depend on those for dua, you don't need anything else. First thing is Hamilin of Arsh, that those angels who are lifting the arsh of Allah, they do istighfar for the believers. And they make this dua, Ya Allah, whoever seeks pardon, whoever seeks forgiveness, please forgive them. That's dua for the believers. Ya Allah, whosoever seeks forgiveness, you forgive him. Alongside, it says dua, there's a condition attached. Ya Allah, you forgive him. Accept his dua. Provided he continues to go out in your path. His naqal wa harkat, his movement is for the deen. Accept his tawbah, so long as he continues to move around the earth for your deen. And, O Allah, protect him from the fire of Jahannam. And another dua, Ya Allah, you protect him from all kinds of acts of disobedience. These are the dua those angels they make for human beings. And the angels are so restless for those who seek forgiveness of Allah. They're restless until they know they've been forgiven. But unfortunately, we bring materialism in between us and Allah. For such people, angels will never see help of Allah come to such people. That person who just asked permission from that robber, please just give me time just to offer 2 rakat. He said, yes, many before you have offered 2 rakats, you do it as well. See if you will be helped. So riding on a horse with a spear in his hand and to kill him. He says, who are you? A rider comes. A spear. I am the slave of that person who begs Allah with his full restlessness. I'm the slave of that person. There was an angel. For the angels to descend on many times, many occasions, they descend for the help of Muslims. Anbiya, they always ask help of Allah directly, never through angels. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps Anbiya through angels and sometimes directly the believers. And for the ikram of mu'mineen, otherwise there's no need for Allah to send angels, many thousands of angels to come help the Muslims. One angel was enough to finish Qawm Samud. One angel was enough. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need to send thousands of angels? Jibreel Islam coming down from the heavens. As he was coming down, riding a horse, and the horse would not move, and asked, move. His horse named Hazum. Hazum, move forward. As he said, on the mountain, he said, Hazum, move forward, move forward. Just with this announcement, one man sitting on an angel, he had a heart attack and he died on spot. Just one angel, just one word. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just wanted for the comfort of Muslims. Allah didn't need to send angels. There are many angels. One who thinks Allah will not help me, it's better for him to commit suicide, so that he can see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help through angels is towards the end of Quran. So the angels are helpers of Anbiya right towards the end of Quran. Throughout Quran, no mention of angels helping Anbiya. Because we believe in angels because they're close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not that we depend on angels. We are dependent on Allah directly. We need help of Allah directly, not even through the angels. So those 7 people, that's the first thing they said. We believe in Allah. 1, we believe in His angels. 3, we believe in His books. So what does that mean, believing in the books? To believe in the books means that we regard halal of Quran and haram of Quran, we totally accept. And the entire life is according to the ahkam of Quran. Not just to say, yes, this is the book of Allah. It's not Iman that I regard this as the book of Allah. No, much more than that. So much conviction in the heart to believe just this is the book of Allah. If the mushrikeen believed this is the last book, if they believed as well, and they were jealous. Why was this Quran revealed on Muhammad? They were jealous because they realized the importance of Quran. That's what they were jealous. Why was it revealed on Muhammad? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So it's not enough for a Muslim to say, I believe in Quran. To believe in Quran means that you consider halal as prescribed by Quran to be halal, and haram of Quran to practice. This is haram, this is halal. One Sahabi made a mistake. Rasulullah said, you're playing with the Quran. And the Sahabi said, I believe in the Quran. So Rasulullah said that you do not believe in the Quran if you do ghibat, because if one considers haram of Quran to be halal, he is doing riba, that means he does not believe in Quran. This is believing in Quran, this is Iman of Quran, that you practice what's contained in Quran, that we obey all of the commandments contained in Quran. This is believing in the book. That we subject ourselves and submit totally to what's contained in Quran. This is believing in book of Allah. And they said, we believe in Qadr, and we believe in death, and after death there's a life after death, And we believe, and we have to answer for our question, answer for ourselves on the day of judgment. We'll be tested. And 5 things we practice. 5 things we practice. First and foremost, we testify no one worthy of worship other than Allah. And Muhammad is the Abd and Rasul of Allah. They regard this as an amal. And we establish salat. They didn't say we offer salat. They said we establish salat. And establishment of salat, Aqimus Salah, means the one who offers salat, that stops you from all small or big disobedience and the sins. We want ikhlas in kalima, and ikhlas of kalima is that it stops us from haram. And salat, ikhlas of salat is that stops us from munkarat. What's been forbidden, we stop. If we are doing, this is establishment of salat. Ibn Abbas, that one who doesn't stop one, who prays salat, and he continues to do munkarat, the forbidden things, then that means he is not offering salat. Because this is the quality of salat, that it prevents one from munkarat. It's not possible one is offering salat and is still committing sins. There's something wrong with the salat. There's something munkar in his salat. Something wrong with his salat. Because the ayat of Quran is haq. Quran says, Innal hasanat yuzhibnu sayyat. Hasanat remove, wipe out sayyat. Hasanat, good deeds, wipe out bad deeds. Not just that, but even from the heart, all the darkness that comes through disobedience, even that is removed from the heart. These are the good deeds, wipe out the darkness of the heart committed through sins. So that's what I say, that continue to improve the quality of your salat. It's important that as workers of tabligh, that particularly those who are in the first saf, long bayans, long jawlas, long bayans, long speeches, long mashura. But when you come to salat, we had a old workers gathering after Maghrib, after Salam. One man gathered everyone. So I asked them, have you all offered 6 rakat awabin before the bayan starts? Remember what I'm saying. Those who are involved in this effort of da'wat and tabligh, don't lower the value of your ibadat. Otherwise, you'll fall into the ditch of ignorance without even realizing. We are doing a big job, lot of long jawlas, but no Qiyamul Layl, no Nawafil, Khulafai Rashidin in the path of Allah. When they were going out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they would get hidayat. Those who were moving, that Allah's help for your jobs during the day will be proportionate to the tilawat of Quran and Qiyamul Layl. Qiyamul Layl, Tahajjud, and these are the hidayat of Khulafai Rashidin to Sahaba going in the Jamaat. Don't discard Qiyamul Layl and lot of tilawat of Quran. These are the hidayat of Khulafai Rashidin. And they would give these hidayat to all the Jamaats going out in the path of Allah about this ibadat. tilawat of Quran and the Qiyamul Layl. Why shouldn't that be? When Quran is evident, Shadawatan wa akwa makila, inna laka fin nahari safan tawila, that the Qiyamul Layl suppresses nafs. Qiyamul Layl is the one that suppresses the nafs. One most effective source for the suppression of your desires and nafs is Qiyamul Layl. Unfortunately, we become so neglectful that we do not regard the nafal salat important for us. That nafal doesn't mean we do something additional, but this is something more you have to do. Nafila, it means Ibrahim a.s. was given Ishaq and Yaqub. This is Qudsi. More, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewarded Ibrahim a.s. that my abd comes close to me through nawafil to such an extent I become his limbs. Through nawafil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this, that when he does nafal, ibadat, I come so close to my slave, to my abd, that I become his limbs, becomes hands, his arms, his ears, that because his seeing, his talking, his listening, his walking, 100% is according to the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Have you ever considered that all of my body, any part of my body, that any use of any organ of my body is the source of my going away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It does not bring me qurb of Allah. Disobedience removes one from the qurb of Allah. Maulana Saad Maghrib one malfuz, that the effort, that is not just iman and kalima, not just to learn iman and kalima, but to improve the quality and the standard of iman and salat. Iman and salat, to improve the quality and standard. You make so much effort to improve the quality of standard to such a level, a higher level. This is what's required of this effort of Dawat and Tabligh. A person who has been offering salat for 40 years in Damascus, in Damascus, Huzaifa, he knew all the munafiqeen, because those Sahaba not only recognized hypocrites, they also knew the signs of hypocrisy. So Huzaifa saw someone offering salat. That for how long have you been offering salat? It's for the last 40 years. Last 40 years I've been offering salat. So he said, if you die offering salat the way you have just offered, you will not die on that deen that Muhammad brought sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you continue to offer your salat for the rest of your life, then your death will not come on deen of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The only one thing was lacking in his salat, that he was too quick. He was too quick in his ruku and sajda. Here, that husn khatima with dua. So we say to each other, oh, make dua for husn khatima, so that I die on iman. Make dua. To die on iman is husn amal and niya. Niya and amal. Niya and amal, those two things, that will guarantee that one will die on iman. Unless if you have sui amal and no bad intentions and wrong amal, one will not die on Iman. A lot of people do a lot of big projects, and they think we are doing big things and we will get a lot of reward from Allah. No, the end is with the right intention, and the right intention is connected with the right amal. Wrong intention, bad amal. One Huzaifa about Salat, who has some weakness in Salat, he says, you will not die on Iman if you continue to offer Salat the way you are offering Salat. Good intentions. There was a man called Qutban. Whenever he is talked about, Rasulullah when was mentioned, Qutban was mentioned in front of Rasulullah. Rasulullah said, I have seen Qutban in Jahannam. Allah, Ya Allah, Astaghfirullah. At the day of Uhud, he says, often we think, including me, we think, oh, we're doing a lot of effort of tabligh. And we claim, I belong to tabligh. That I do tabligh and I give da'wat. We don't know that how delicate this claim is, and that how much test one has to go through to become a da'i. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves only da'wat and dua, not announcement, not a claim for da'wat, but to do da'wat itself, not the claims that we make. Qutban, on the day of Uhud, he was on behalf of Muslims. He fought against mushrikeen, helped Sahaba. To such an extent, he killed 7 or 8 mushrikeen. Sahaba victorious, mushrikeen they lost. Qutban, he himself got wounded. He was lifted, taken home. Sahaba Ikram gathered, and they all said, Qutban, what you have done today, marvelous. Because of you, we have become victorious. Good news for you, Qutban. Good news for you, Qutban. What kind of good news are you giving me? Qutban said, give this good news to someone who has done for Allah. I have done this because you belong to my tribe. I've done it for you. My dear brothers, for a short while, each one of us, we should look at ourselves, check ourselves, and question ourselves. Up till now, whatever you have done, whatever we have done, have we done it for Allah, or for your people, or for your country, or for your nation? The ruler said, I do it for my people. The president, I'll do it for my country. Governor, I'm doing it for my people, for my country, for my province. Ansar, help of Ansar on the day of Uhud, for mushrikeen to lose and for Sahaba to win. There can be no better occasion. But just because he did this for his own people, for his own tribe. So Qutban said, why are you giving this good news? Give him this good news to someone who has done for Allah. You belong to me, I've done it for you. And it's a tradition that as he was wounded, he took a spear out, and he committed suicide. This is how he died. This is how he died. Such a big project, such a big thing that he did, that all of Sahaba were affected by what he did. But this amal, there was no ikhlas. There's no ikhlas. Ikhlas, and the lack of ikhlas is more hidden than a black ant on a black rock. No one should see, no one can see. Only that person who's done the amal, only he knows, I've done for Allah, or I've done for someone else. So check, decide for yourself, whoever you are doing it for. Are you doing for Allah or something else? Those who do it for Allah, doesn't matter if they are not praised or not appreciated or not recognized. If they're doing for Allah, they'll continue to do it. But those who are doing for somebody else, that they're not appreciated or they're not praised, they get upset. This is not ikhlas. This is raya. This is just a show off. This is just a pretense and no benefit. Husn amal, husn niyyah. In your salat, husn niyyah and husn amal. Such kind of salat that Allah says in Quran is salat. Otherwise, that salat, there are weaknesses, they will take you away from Allah. There's a second thing. They said, but our amal is that we pay zakat. We pay zakat. Those 7 people. These are the 5 qualities. These are the 5 amal that we do. And they said these are our qualities. To offer zakat, to pay zakat. If Muslims pay zakat, there will be so much barakat, they won't be able to tolerate the abundance of zakat, of barakah. Businessmen don't have time to even calculate how much zakat they need to pay, leave alone paying. So much associations, boxes, and they just put money in there and you take it out and spend it. It's not zakat. It's due on every Muslim that he himself is required to find out and search who are the deserving and pay them zakat with his own hands. Rahmatullah used to say, we're not seeing the results because the zakat is not being paid. Zakat is not being paid, that's why not seeing the results. The barakat of zakat. To search for the deserving person and pay that person, the deserving person, with your own hands. Often Maulana Ilyas used to ask for some food from someone just to see what's the condition of that house, what kind of food they're eating. Unfortunately, businessmen today don't have time or the need to calculate or find out the deserving ones of zakat or to pay zakat. Like a man in the desert wants to pray and searching for water, that's how you should be searching for the deserving ones of zakat, so that the payment of zakat can occur and reaches the deserving ones. Unfortunately, everything is all gone upside down, all lopsided, upside down. No barakat. The time of Sahaba, to zakat, to payment, and to search for zakat. The system that the kids, they play hide and seek. Hide and seek. They hide and seek. There's and the different words that you use. Hide and seek. Zakat in the time of Sahaba, like children, hide and seek. Like one child, the other children are hidden and he's searching. This is how Sahaba Ikram would find out, and the deserving ones were hidden. And the Sahaba, those who had to pay zakat, they would look for those, because the hidden ones who deserve zakat. In the time of Sahaba, the rich ones would go after the deserving ones, and the deserving ones would hide themselves. Today, beggars are looking for the rich ones. These days, rich ones were looking for the deserving ones. How the systems have changed. This is the system for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if you don't spend where you need to spend, there'll be no barakat. Your expenditure has to be rightly placed. Otherwise, we often lot of announcements. I pay zakat, huge houses, lot of cars, lot of farms. And they say, I pay zakat. Now I can do with the rest of money whatever I like because I pay zakat. Listen to it carefully. This was the way of Sahaba. That whatever they had more than their needs, they used to consider this is not my right. It doesn't belong to me. Whatever I have beyond my needs is not mine. It belongs to somebody else. This is the right of a deserving person, zakat, that we spend our extra money for those ways, for those projects that will bring relief to others. Instead, we spend the leftover on our desires. And we say, I pay zakat. Zakat on those reserving ones. And the rest of money for the after of deen. Then they had the barakat from the heavens. Such help of Allah and the barakat from Allah that they couldn't even imagine. So the good acts, they're saying, now I take the zakat out, now the rest of my money is mine to use how I want. This is not right. If the Muslims take out zakat properly and appropriate it in the rightful manner to the deserving ones, no one can remain hungry on earth. And the Muslims, their wedding on Sunnah, no girl can remain without being married because of lack of dowry. We are the one who are the usurpers. We have taken away rights of others for our own desires and our lusts. Think it belongs to me. That whatever is left over after payment of zakat and your needs, rest have to be spent on the needy ones and the fuqara. Then you will see then there's so much barakat of what you spend, so much can't even imagine. So much Allah will reward you. Then I paid zakat. Now I can do whatever I like with the rest of my money. No. Abu Zar Ghifari, that was his way. He used to say, whoever has 1 dirham beyond his needs and he doesn't spend on others, that dirham will be melted in Jahannam and pasted on his body. Wherever Abu Zar Ghifari would go, this is what he would say about that dirham. All the rich people, they got worried about this statement because this was Abu Zar Ghifari's way. Sahaba Ikram, for the sadaqat, they desired so much. Pride was to enter into Islam, and while they were in Islam, they were spending all that they had. One Sahabi complained about someone else. Said, Ya Rasulullah, this Sahabi, he doesn't offer salat, he doesn't pay zakat, he doesn't fast. Is he Muslim? Yes, he is a Muslim, but doesn't offer salat, doesn't pay zakat, doesn't fast. Rasul called him and said to him, can that be a Muslim who doesn't offer salat, doesn't pay zakat, doesn't fast? This is what I've heard about you. So the one who had complained, the one who had said this to Rasulullah, this is what he said, Ya Rasulullah, how can that be? That I discard salat, that I don't pay zakat, and I don't fast? Being a Muslim, I don't do any of those things. Rasulullah checked the other person. You told me this about him. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, can a man discard salat? So what I'm saying, not that he doesn't pray salat, what I'm saying, he doesn't offer nafal. He He fasts for the month of Ramadan, but he doesn't do the additional ones. He pays zakat, but he doesn't do zakat. How can that be? If the Muslim doesn't offer salat, faraid, Sahaba considered this is the condition for entry into Islam. And the Nawafil is practice of Islam. Every amal every amal we do to improve its quality and standard. We have to find out how we can improve the quality and the standard of this amal. So it's what those 7 brothers, he said, that we establish salat and we pay zakat and we fast and we do the hajj of Baitullah. So what are those 5 that's part of you from the before you became Muslims, from the your ayyam jahiliyyah, that we from ever since we have sabr, we have shukr. Strange thing is that just these 2 qualities, sabr and shukr, this is kamil iman. Just in itself, this is kamil iman. Unfortunately today, we don't even realize this significance, or we don't even know what sabr is and what's shukr. The ahkam of Allah, to remain steadfast, doesn't matter what the conditions, this is sabr. To remain steadfast on the ahkam of Allah, regardless, irrespective of conditions that you're going through, you remain constant on the ahkam of Allah, this is sabr. And the ibadat of Allah, you do more and more in His name, this is shukr. To do more is shukr. We don't even realize what sabr is. We don't even care what shukr is. We don't even know. Aisha radiallahu anha said, Ya Rasulullah, now that Allah has forgiven you, why do you excel so much and tie yourself so much in the ibadat at night? Oh Aisha, how can that be that I don't become Abdul Shakura? This is shukr, to increase your ibadat in sabr and shukr. You should understand this, what sabr is. What is sabr? Remain constant, remain steadfast on the amal. Doesn't matter what the conditions are. Conditions change, but continue to do sabr. Just some problem comes and you do sabr, this kind of sabr, never conditions will not change and help of Allah will not come. These conditions that come because of disobedience, just to do sabr, the conditions do not change. Will never change. Just you do sabr and you continue to do the disobedience, conditions will not change. Don't face the conditions with sabr, because these conditions come from disobedience. Those conditions that come to you because of your disobedience, they will not be removed just by doing sabr. This kind of sabr will take to Jahannam. Whether you do sabr or you don't do sabr, it's all same. Because of disobedience, it takes you to Jahannam. But you do sabr or not, it takes you to Jahannam. Sabr and shukr, you have to understand. Find out its significance. The reality is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran has connected sabr with taqwa. Wherever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions sabr, it's with taqwa. Wasbiru wa tattaqu. Everywhere, sabr, taqwa. We're doing sabr without taqwa. Muslims all over the world do sabr without taqwa. Muslims doing sabr without taqwa. If Muslims do sabr with taqwa, help of Allah will come immediately upon Muslims. Sabr and taqwa to be combined and united. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not never waste their effort. Yusuf al-Islam did sabr and taqwa in his life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed all kinds of difficulties from the path of Yusuf al-Islam because of sabr and taqwa. His brothers made them become dependent on him, and his wife Zulaikha, one who accused him, not his wife, Zulaikha who accused him, he made her to be subject to him, repentant towards him. One who fears makhluk, he doesn't have taqwa. One who fears makhluk, he doesn't have taqwa. When someone someone in doing disobedience because of people, this is not taqwa. You're committing a sin. If you think nobody has seen it, so this thought in the mind, nobody has seen me doing these bad things, this is worse than doing this bad thing itself. Just this thought that nobody saw me doing this. Taqwa and the haya, these are the signs of Iman, such signs which are connected directly with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One who has no haya is no one who does in front of people, but the haya is not what he does in front of people, but you don't have haya is what you do quietly. Nobody can see me. It's not haya. They're not human beings who do bad things openly. They can't be human beings. One who spends his night, this hadith, one who spends his night in a lawful manner with his wife, and he says in the morning, this is what I did last night with my wife, Rasulullah said, he is like that donkey, male and female, who do the intercourse in front of people. No better than them. No better than donkey. So one who has done halal thing in secret and announces to people, what about someone who does bad thing in front of people? How can that be a human being? If Rasulullah said he's an animal who does the right thing secretly but tells people, then he is no better than donkey. Because haya is between him and Allah. It's nothing to do with people. It's Allah. So if you have no haya, you don't care, then doesn't matter. You can do what you like. You don't care. Now you're free as an animal. If you don't have shyness, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be this openly or secretly. This is haya. If you don't have haya, then doesn't matter. You can do what you like. No difference between you and an animal. So we have to create taqwa. This is a sign of Iman. Quran is clear. Iman, those people who have Iman in this kalima of La ilaha illallah, they are more deserving of taqwa because they are more deserving of taqwa because in this kalima La ilaha illallah is taqwa. So sabr and taqwa are connected. How Muslims are suffering today because they are doing sabr and waiting for conditions to change with sabr. They think if the government change, conditions will change. Because the conditions are connected with ahkam, not with hukam, with commands of Allah, not with the rulers. Rulers can never change the conditions, except those rulers who have such ibadat and taqwa in their life that even if the intention of a ruler changes, even just that intention affects not his kingdom, not his army, in his kingdom, even that would affect the juice of the fruit, even affect the fruits and vegetables, not just human beings. Like this king, the one who was a farmer, as soon as he squeezed the pomegranate for his juice, immediately he said, our ruler has wrong intentions. That's why there's not much juice in this pomegranate. So a ruler, you change a ruler, conditions will not change. Some people are waiting for the government to change so the conditions can change. Because it's got nothing to do with the conditions of people. It's all connected with the amal of a believer. Conditions are connected with the amal. Conditions are not connected with the possession, material things, or the rulers. Conditions are connected directly with the amal of a person. What he does, that's what will bring about the changes. Pleasant or unpleasant. Bad amal, unfavorable conditions. Good amal, good conditions. This is the system of Allah. Conditions will change with sabr and taqwa. His amal. If all the thieves get together and all the criminals get together and they start to curse other human beings, no azab will come to the people just because all the thieves get together and curse them. Even for a curse to be accepted, taqwa and da'wah is a condition for the acceptance of dua or a curse. In fact, that if you want to curse for the kuffar, if you want to curse the kuffar mushrikeen in your heart, you should have intention, none other than hidayat for them. Only then Allah will deal with them. You must have in your heart this intention, must create this intention for the hidayat of them and desire for their hidayat. If you don't have in your heart this desire for their hidayat, no matter what you do, how much bad feelings you have for the kuffar, there will be no harm come to them. Condition is that completely we remove all ways of the non-Muslims. We don't follow their ways, we don't adopt their ways, and from heart and from our body, from our face, and their worldly things. We have no desire in what they have and what they possess. In our heart, there should be no longing for they possess other than hidayat for them. Sahaba Ikram, big empires, challenges for such superpowers spoke to them like they were speaking to slaves. Even though Sahaba were talking to the kings, they were talking to them like they're saying to the slaves, talking to the slaves. So the kings used to say to their cabinet, to their ministers, these beggars, they came and taken away my land from underneath my feet. The Romans and the Persians, their empires, their superpowers, they spoke to their kings like one speaks to a slave. Only that person, only Sahaba, can talk to the kings like they were slaves. Only because they had in their heart hidayat for them. Only then they could talk in a manner that they did. They can never be saved. You can never be saved from their acts of atrocity of the non-Muslims unless in your heart you have a sense of hidayat for them. Unfortunately, what's our condition? We're sitting on a branch of tree and we are trying to saw it off. We want their trade, we want their business, we want to get married there, we want their clothes, we want their businesses. Everything they have, we want. And also we want their hidayat, and we want them to be destroyed as well. These are all contradictions. This is all nonsense. These are all contradictions. So you can never reach our desires, never reach our desired state unless we have this mixed feelings. It's all contradictions. The life of Muslims, contradictions. We do something different, we say something different. And so some said to Sahaba that you save yourself away from the ways of Romans and Persians. You stay away so far that you can't even see their fire being lit. So far you should be away. You can't even see the lights of their houses. The success of this ummah, for this ummah to come on top. There's only one way, and that is to establish sunnah in the life of the ummah. No way that Muslims can be distinguished from non-Muslim is to sunnah. Otherwise you can never differentiate Muslim or non-Muslim, except if one practices sunnah, that's a Muslim, one doesn't, it's not a Muslim. Sunnah is the only one thing that differentiates believer or a non-believer. Sunnah. Just say I'm a Muslim, just to say I offer all the faraid. Faraid is only differentiate between Kufr Islam, but a believer and non-believer, the difference is only Sunnah. Sunnat, not just Sunnat of ibadat, but Sunnat of our habits, Sunnat of our clothing. These Sunnahs I'm talking about, not just Sunnah of the Salat. Faraid is for entry into Islam. That differentiates between Kufr and Islam. If there's no Faraid, of course there's no Kufr, there's no Islam. It's all Kufr. But a Muslim and a Kafir, the difference between those two is to follow Sunnah. Ittabai Sunnah, follow the Sunnah, the patterns of Rasulullah. This is that ship of Noor Islam. One who is in the ship of Noor Islam, the Sunnah is like the ship of Noor Islam. Those who are in it, they'll be saved. People say, oh, this is only Sunnah, it's not Fard. Sunnah we're talking about, not Sunnah of Ibadat, Sunnah of Adat, our traditions, our culture, our behavior. That's Sunnah we're talking about. Sunnah, follow Sunnah. This is the distinction of a Muslim. So become habitual, form the habits to practice Sunnah. That's the difference between us and Sahaba, that we did start Sunnah, it's only Sunnah. Sahaba Ikram were particular about Sunnah because they think Sunnah is Islam, Sunnah is Deen. That's why I was saying, Sabr and Taqwa, we have to create and develop in our life. Because Quran everywhere mentions about Sabr and Taqwa. Sabr with Taqwa. So they said we have Sabr and we have Taqwa. We have Shukr, we have Sabr. Another quality that we have. If our enemy suffers, that doesn't please us. Even the suffering of our enemy does not please us. It's sad to say that this day and age, Muslims, their temperament about the non-Muslims is totally opposite to the feelings of Sahaba about non-Muslims. How we feel about non-Muslims today. We have to do this, the effort of Dawat and Tabligh. Without the feelings of Sahaba will not produce any result. Any goodness that we wish as Ummah from this effort of Dawat and Tabligh, that will become the sabab of Hidayat for humanity. First condition, that generally speaking, every Muslim, and particularly us as workers of Tabligh, we, in our heart, we fill our heart that feeling that Rasulullah and Sahaba Ikram had for the non-Muslims. If we don't have that feeling for Dawat and Tabligh, if we don't have the feeling, we're not da'i. We're not doing da'wah. We say this is the work of Sahaba. Without the feelings of Sahaba, we'll have to do two things to come onto the way of Sahaba. The hidayat of non-Muslims, that you do not want anything that they have. You do not wish anything that others have, other than hidayat for them. If you wish hidayat for them, you should not wish for anything that they have other than their hidayat. You should have no feeling or then hidayat for them. Rasulullah was busy, remained busy in giving da'wat to all and sundry. Hakam bin Hassan, Rasulullah giving da'wat to him. Rasulullah giving da'wat, and he's not ready. Hazrat Ali didn't know. Rasulullah, he said, Rasulullah is tiring himself, and he's not going to become Muslim. He said, Ya Rasulullah, allow me. I will chop his neck off so he can be Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, not Hazrat Ali, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu. He said, you allow me, I'll chop his neck so he can go to Jahannam. He's not going to accept Islam. Rasulullah said, Hazrat Umar says, Rasulullah never turned towards me. Rasulullah always regarded opinion of Hazrat Umar, but not once Rasulullah lifted his eye towards Hazrat Umar, kept on giving da'wat. Hazrat Umar said, when he didn't look towards me, so I started to think, oh, why did I speak? I should have spoken. I was only saying because Rasulullah is getting tired in giving da'wat and he's not going to accept Islam. So it's because of my feeling of well-wishing for Rasulullah. That's why I said, because he was upset and embarrassed. Why did I stop Rasulullah from giving da'wat? Hakam bin Hassan, it's so much that he became Muslim. Rasulullah said, Umar, if I had accepted your opinion, he would have gone to Jahannam. Now he's going to Jannah. Sahaba Ikram came. So those 7 said, when our enemy suffers, that doesn't make us happy. Suffering of our enemy does not make us happy. Muslims are happy when the non-Muslims are suffering. That means, that indicates in our heart we don't have that feeling for the non-Muslims. What Sahaba had for the non-Muslims. And we do not deal with the non-Muslims the way Sahaba used to deal with the non-Muslims. A mushrik. And they sat and ate next to him, and every soft thing on their sufra they would give to the mushrik. When the mushrik saw this, why shouldn't he become a Muslim? Here we are, that we will kill them, we'll slaughter them, kill all the non-Muslims. This is not the way of Sahaba. This is not what they wished. Unfortunately, today our decisions are based on whether we are friends with someone. This is my country, this is my region, this is my family. When that happens, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never choose such people to become the source of hidayat for others. You want to become a ruler, we'll make you a ruler on the condition that you'll have to do what we'll tell you to do. It's not the way for Muslims, for non-Muslims to come to Islam. If there's a need of a non-Muslim, you have to decide against a Muslim in favor of a non-Muslim. If non-Muslims is on the right. If you want to be saved, you have to establish fairness and justice and equality, Muslim or non-Muslim. Hazrat Ali with a Yahudi. There was an argument. This belongs to me. Yahudi says, no, this is mine. Let's go to the magistrate. Let's go to the Qadi. So he stood up. The Qadi stood up. Amirul Mu'minin, you come to my court. He stood up. Tell us, what can I do for you? So Yahudi thought, oh, this is Hazrat Ali has appointed him and he is giving me ikram. How can the decision be made in my favor? So the Qadi sat alongside the Jew, and Hazrat Ali sat on the chair of the Qadi. And so the Qadi asked, what's the problem? So Yahudi said, this belongs to me. So Hazrat Ali said, it's mine. So Rasulullah said, what's your claim? How do you claim it's yours? He says, my son, Hassan. He said, yes, he's a Shabab al Jannah. But his witness, his testimony in your favor as a father is not acceptable. So he said, my slave it's a witness. So Qazi said, a slave all alone by himself is not acceptable. His witness is not acceptable. His testimony in your favor is not acceptable. Now, Yahudi is sitting next to the magistrate, to the Qadi. Hazrat Ali sitting in his chair. Such an honor that the Qadi gave to Hazrat Ali that he decided, Amir al-Mu'mineen, I cannot give this to you, it belongs to the Jew because you have got no witnesses. This is the fairness, this is the justice. Decision made. So it wasn't that it'll take appeals and months and years. Immediately, listen, testimony, decision made. Leave it with me, I'll think about it, I'll let you know my decision. No. Those who accept, decisions are easy. Those who are willing to accept. Qadi decided, this belongs to the saddle, belongs to the Jew. I mean, this is not yours. Immediately, as soon as the Jew got that saddle, immediately said, Ashhadu la ilaha illallah. Because I testify, these decisions are based on truth and justice. So accept the truth and justice of Islam. Yahudi became Muslim when the truth and justice and fairness was practiced by Muslims. Non-Muslims came to the fold of Islam. So the Jew said, this saddle actually belongs to you. I lifted it up because it fell off your horse. It belongs to you. But I came just to see how decisions are made in the court of Muslims. It's for this, my dear brothers, this is what I'm saying to you, that particularly those of us who are involved in this effort of Dawat and Tabligh, unless it's on the ways of Sahaba, that for the non-Muslims, in our heart, we have sympathy and care for them. And restlessness for their hidayat. Unless then we will not become the source of hidayat for them. You will not get hidayat and you will not become the source of hidayat for others. Unless you have that feeling for Sahaba, like Sahaba. So those 7 brothers, that's what they said. Whenever there's any problem to the non-Muslims, they're suffering, that doesn't please us. Another quality that we have, we are always satisfied with the whatever Allah decides, we accept, we submit. And the last 5th quality that we have, part of our iman, that whatever command of Allah comes, we do not care to the conditions. This command of Allah against the condition, we ignore the conditions. We remain steadfast. He says, Fuqaha, you have full understanding. Kutub you have been guided and very close to you, all of you becoming a Nabi with such qualities. So hijrah, migration, is not just to leave one place to the other. Migration is to migrate from all such things that Allah has forbidden. This is a muhajir. This is hijrah of today. Man hajra aman Allahu an. When someone turns away from everything Allah has forbidden, this is hijrah. This is hijrah. So this is our tazkiyah of nafs. Tazkiyah, tarbiyah, hidayat and maghfirat. These 4 things, first condition for all of these, first step for all these things, first step we need to take is to migrate from your place to the another. For these 4 things to be acquired, I'll narrate a story to you. We'll find out from this instance that the khuruj in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a completion for our tawbah. Perfection for our tawbah and istighfar is to go out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People think that tawbah Tawbah, 4 parts and 3 conditions for a person who has done tawbah. His feelings, his state of mind, 3 states of mind. Without his 3 states of mind and 4 parts of tawbah, Allah doesn't turn towards him. 4 conditions for tawbah and 3 states of mind for a person who does tawbah. Only based on those, Allah accepts the tawbah of a person. 3 Sahaba. 3 Sahaba, all of them at the same time, the famous story, they were left behind, going out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll go in the morning, we'll go in the evening, tomorrow and day after. That's what shaitan does. We'll go tomorrow. No, not now, but tomorrow. It's what the shaitan does. So they kept on postponing it, and time passed. Allah is upset. Allah is upset with them, and Surah is upset with them. And even Sahaba. Something we should consider and ponder over it. They have not committed a sin or disobeyed Allah. Zina, interest, gambling, alcohol. Yes, these are sins we should avoid. And these are such major kabair, such major sins, that one who commits, that's nowhere it's mentioned that you stop talking to them. We're encouraged that make him understand this is wrong what you're doing. Bring him close to you. Don't stop talking to them. Hate what he does. Don't hate him. This was the mizaj of Sahaba. They would hate the kufr. They would not hate a kafir.
Yes.
Here these 3 have not committed a major sin. That for one whole month, just about whole month, no one in Medina would speak to them. So one of them asked his cousin that, I love Allah and Allah's Rasul. So that man said, I don't know. He said, such a close friend. And he didn't answer to me. He answered in a vague way. I was very upset. They had not committed a major sin. Just they delayed in going out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the condition of these 3 people, that they were restricted to their houses. They couldn't move around. Nobody would talk to them. That doesn't matter. We can stay home and learn our deen. Why go out? So you can go anywhere. If you're not doing tabligh, doesn't matter. You can go and do whatever you like. You can go anywhere. But istikhlas, we have been expected or been commanded to istikhlas. Even if you lose your life, but don't discard da'wat and tabligh. Doesn't matter what your fellow workers say to you. Never discard the effort. This is istikhlas. Continuing to do the effort regardless of the conditions. This is istikhlas. Rasulullah had taken a pact with Sahaba. After I'm gone, others will be preferred above you, but you will not go behind. You will not leave salat. You will not leave zakat. He didn't say that. This is not the conditions. The ibadat were not the condition for the bayah. That others will be preferred over you, but you will never discard the act of da'wat. This is what Rasulullah said. That after I'm gone, the preference will be given to others above you, but you will not give up. You will not give up giving da'wat. Doesn't matter what others are favored or what others get. Ka'b ibn Malik, one of those 3. He said, I was restricted to my house. Where else can I go now? What else can I do? Where else can I go? Nobody would talk to me. And I'm not even happy with myself. I don't like myself for what I've done. And then he believed there's nowhere I can tell to. These are the 3 conditions. They were restricted, and there's nowhere else I can go, and nobody would talk to me. desperate. Only then Allah turned towards them. These were the three states that they were in, and four conditions. People, and usually people know three, but they don't know the fourth one. First is that once one commits a sin, that you feel sorry about it. Secondly, that you stop doing it, and thirdly, that you make a promise to yourself you'll never do it again. Usually, these are the three that are mentioned. There's a fourth one people don't know. Think about that person who committed 99 murders, one less than 100. Then he realized, once he had committed 100, then he realized, he says, I will not do it again. Will my tawbah be acceptable? After 99 murders, first one he came across was the rahib. One who had, discarded everything in the masjid. Just said, one who desires to be forgiven and is embarrassed and shy and feels sorry for what he has done. Then the rahib said to him, you have committed 99 murders, your tawbah cannot be accepted. So he killed him as well. 100 murders. Why? Remember this. As much as you wander around the ummah, that's how much you'll have more hopes and expectation of the reformation in ummah. As much you move around. This dawah, moving around, it will increase your hope for the better. As much you refrain yourself from moving around and stay in the masjid, that's how much you will be disappointed from the state of ummah. Rahib is the one who's disconnected from makhluk and connected with the Khaliq. To remain behind, not move around and find out the conditions of the ummah, this will create despondence in you. Then you'll lose hope. There's an ayah of Quran, I translate. One Jamaat went out, give da'wat, for whom Allah had decided to destroy because of their amal. The good of those good people of that time, why are you going out, give da'wat to those who are going to be destroyed? No need, no benefit, go back. It's no time. It's already been decided, they'll be punished. So the one who has to give, I still have hope that they will come back. Those Salihin, of those people, they said, it's no time. It's too late now. It's too late. Just to make you understand, we started this Quran to you, that to move around and mix with them, do ikhtilaf with the ummah. This will increase hope in you. But if you stay away and not mix around with people, you will lose hope. You will lose hope. One who was connected with Allah but disconnected from makhluk, he said, 99 murders? Can't be. No tawbah for you. So 100 murders now. Because with tawbah of a person and then Allah, no one can come in the middle. 100 now. 100 murders. What should I do now? So we went to an alim. He narrated his incident. 100 murders. Can I be forgiven? Can I do tawbah? He says, he didn't say that yes, you feel sorry and you decided not to do it again and now you can go back. He didn't say that to him. That Allah is forgiving, Allah will forgive if you're doing tawbah. And you feel sorry and you promise not to do it again, Allah will forgive you. So Alim said to him, if you wish tawbah, you move, change your place, change your environment, go to another locality. Where do you go? And he even said, that place, one of those. As soon as he decided, the time of his death came. Because just out of his intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the earth to contract. Even the angels or that person who was dying didn't know. Only Allah knew. Allah knew that he's taken this first step for his reformation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed the system of the makhluk. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the angels, measure the distance between the two localities and his place of death. Whichever he's closer to, you can take him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the earth to contract. People say, Tabligh, no reformation for self, no tazkiyah. How can this be? That work, that job has to be done for tazkiyah. How can there be that it doesn't have tazkiyah? So, maghfirat, hidayat, tazkiyah and tarbiyah. These are the four in this movement of ours are expected. Provided our movement is like the sun. The way the sun is continuously in movement. Then these four things are the results of this movement of ours. Then on this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised, I'll help you the way I helped Anbiya before. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala evidently, clearly mentioned in the Quran, we'll help the Anbiya and the believers the way we have helped Anbiya before. Those who continue to do this effort of da'wah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah said, Allah will help 10 times. Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, us or them? He said, no, you. 10 Sahaba calling to one worker of this time. Help with a believer is according to 10 Sahaba. How we can expect help from Allah, the reasons how we can accept help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we have to adopt our lifestyle according to Sunnah to such an extent that whatever need we have or movement of our body, always that we do against Sunnah, we curse ourselves. We feel sorry for it. And we make a promise to ourselves, I'll learn and practice Sunnah. Next, no replacement, no substitute for movement. In this work of Da'wat and Tabligh, Khuruj is the basis. The foundation of Da'wat and Tabligh is Khuruj. Infiru, Nafar, going out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Infiru, in all conditions, regardless of your conditions. Sahaba said, with this ayah, this ayah alone changed and removed all causes or excuses we could have had for going out of the path of Allah. No excuse left now. After Infiru, no excuse left to go out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to spend your time and your money. Nowhere Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran other than zakat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not warned. The warning from Allah is not about azab from zakat. If one doesn't pay zakat, Allah has not warned him that you'll be under azab. No warning of azab on spending, except one time, one opportunity, that if you do not spend your time and money on this particular thing, that with your own hands you're destroying yourself. وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Remember this from me. Infaq fi sabilillah doesn't just mean to spend money, but infaq fi sabilillah is to go out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and spend your time and money while you are in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the khuruj. People say, we're spending money, we're spending money on the widows and the orphans and all the good things, on madaris and orphans, on needs of deen. If you're going out on the path of Allah, spending your money, what's the difference? They say in this ayat, Anfiqu fi sabilillah. From sabilillah, only infaq in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what is desired. Many other ayat of the fadail of spending for Allah, but fi sabilillah is only in khuruj. Many other ayat, but this ayat that I wish to elaborate, that with your own hands you destroy yourself, warning from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will not find with any other infaq in any other ayat in Quran except in this infaq fi sabilillah. Anfiqu fi sabilillah. I wish that all of us together, collectively, that we are able to fulfill the rights of the Dawud and Tabligh. In this ayat, infaq is only in sabilillah. Wa anfiqu fi sabilillah. Wa la tulhiqu bi aydikum tuhlika. Spend in the path of Allah. If you don't, you destroy yourself with your own hands. You might be wondering around, you might be thinking that infaq means spending. Absolutely. But in order for you to understand Quran, you have to understand Sahaba. The one who doesn't understand Sahaba will never understand Quran. Without understanding Sahaba, you can never explain or do the tafsir of Quran, because Sahaba's life is an example of what's contained in Quran. Fighting with enemy of Islam. When someone said, don't go and offer yourself to be killed. And they recited this ayat, and what was connected, what was this ayat, in what context it was revealed, forgot all that. They started to apply this ayat absolutely, without knowing the purpose of this ayat and what context it was applied. It was revealed. Abu Ayyub Ansari radhiyallahu anhu immediately spoke, "You're wrong. Don't say this. Keep quiet. We understand this ayat more than you. You changed Quran. We understand the purpose of this ayat. This ayat was revealed for us in Medina when we decided in Medina. In reality, this is our condition of our workers. MashaAllah, many hundreds and thousands in all the countries, Dawud and Tabligh, and here in Pakistan, you have done a lot. Now we have done a lot. Now give me some time. I can go and attend to my farm. I can go and run my shop. I've done my work. Now I go back to my shop or my business. A lot of people doing this work of Tabligh, and it's spread everywhere. A lot of Muslims now, a lot of masjids now, a lot of people helping Deen. Sahaba Ikram, exactly these words, in the absence of Rasulullah, they made mashra amongst themselves. And their mashra was not according to the hypocrites that want to stay behind. They only sought that now Islam has spread everywhere, and a lot of Muslims, just for 6 months, if you can stay in Medina and look after and tend to our shops, tend to our farms, tend to our houses, because our houses need repair. After 6 months, just give us leave for 6 months, and then we will go anywhere that you send us to. And even that 6 months with the local work. Allow us permit us to spend 6 months in Medina. All of them did the Mashra and came to Rasulullah. As they come to Rasulullah, ayat of Quran is being revealed. It's on that occasion this ayat was that was revealed. Here we are. We spent my annual chilla. Don't talk to me now. I've done my annual chilla. Here, just 6 months in Medina to do local work. وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا تُلْهِكُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ تَهْلِكَةً وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah loves those who continue to do the effort irrespective of the conditions. That's why I've mentioned all these things to you, is that going out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the infaq in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is for this purpose of Dawat and Tabligh. And it's duty of everyone. It's on everyone's shoulders. Makana lil mu'minin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, not that not everyone needs to go, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said everyone should go. But not everyone don't need to go all at the same time. But they all need to go out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because there are many other parts of deen, the madrasa and learning and teaching and training and the children, teaching the children. These are also parts of our deen. So there's a sickness in the ummah, thinking going out in the path of Allah and tabligh is not necessary. Or this madrasa is not necessary. Or the zikr is not necessary. To lower the value of any effort for deen is wrong. And the madrasa and the effort done in madrasa and the ulama and the mufti and the hufaz, this is for this effort. That's why the madrasa are going, so the ummah can acquire ilm. What kind of effort is this when there's no respect for the ilm of the ulama? This is ignorance and sheer ignorance. Everyone has to go out to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, everyone has to go, but not all at the same time. They don't need to go all at the same time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why don't you do it in this way? Allah says in Quran, a Jamaat of Muslims, part of the Ummah, always turn by turn keep going out of the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The khuruj of Sahaba, not just Qital, and the fadail of Sahaba for their khuruj was just on Qital, and we use khuruj is the reality, and Qital is the extent of jihad. Many of the wars that were fought, there was no Qital, there was no fighting. The fadail of khuruj, going out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It so happened from time to time the Sahaba had to give their lives. It happened at some time. But how can he give life, one who's not able to do his local work? What he is able to do and he doesn't do, how come a better thing can be expected of him? Whatever he has a capacity to do and he doesn't do, how can he do something that is beyond that is expected of him? So the khuruj, the fadail of khuruj of Sahaba, same fadail for our khuruj. Sahaba, that's for their time. Sahaba is till the day of judgment. Like the saying of Imam Malik, rahimullah, that the reformation cannot take place in the Ummah unless you start doing the same effort that was done in the beginning. The way it was done in the beginning. Otherwise, you cannot expect reformation. You say, common. And when now you come back, now you make understand those who are local, make effort on them, so that now you prepare them and encourage them to go out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Learn the fadail when you are going out in the path of Allah, and then also know what is the harm of not going out on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Come back home and encourage everyone and remind them about the warnings of not going out and the fadail of going out. This is the maqsad of khuruj. Nafar on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Infiru. This nafar, the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is a duty to go out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As you're walking around, you see the rewards of those believers and the punishment for the non-believers. So when you go out and see all that, you come back home and remind those who are staying behind. Naqlu Harkat, the movement, is the purpose of this Dawat and Tabligh. Remember this. I don't know if I'll have opportunity to meet you again. Unfortunately today, it has become our habit. That's become our mizaj. That's become our temperament. That is just to learn Iman and Salat, Kalima and Salat. Okay, I didn't go to the madrasa, didn't go to the maktab. So I'll go to Tabligh and learn. That's not the purpose. That's not the maqsad of khuruj. That's a need. That's our need, personal need. We have to learn Iman and Salat. But this is not the maqsad of khuruj. You learn and read the sayings of Maulana Ilyas Rahmatullah. The maqsad of khuruj and Dawat and Tabligh is not just to learn Kalima and Salat. But the maqsad of khuruj is to increase the standard and the quality of Iman and Kalima and Salat. Not just to learn, but improve the quality and standard of Kalima and Salat. So that you go out in search of excellence in Kalima and Salat. To raise the value to the highest order. So you want to learn Iman, go out in the path of Allah. That's not the purpose. It's to improve the quality and standard. And in this nafar, it's continuous, not just once. Over and over again, you keep going out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, the weakness of Iman is because of lack of movement in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter how much, like I said before, no matter how much you spend on good things, but to spend while you are in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the spending on at home can never be equivalent in value of spending in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Abdullah ibn Rawaha stayed behind for Jummah, and the Jamaat left in the morning. I said, you didn't go? I want to pray behind you in the masjid. Jummah. Abdullah ibn Rawaha, even if you spend the wealth of the entire life, entire earth, you spend all that in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's in fact for the pleasure of Allah. What they have achieved, those who are already in the path of Allah, you can never achieve their level and status, because you'll stay behind. The khuruj and nafar of this khuruj, the purpose is nafar and infaq. Are you all ready for this? Intentions and irada, inshallah. This effort is our maqsad of life, inshallah. And through this, we will bring changes in our life. We have to change. Daily, check yourself. If Asr is not improved more than Zuhr, you're not progressing. It's a decline. It's not progress. So make this intention and decisions for the countries already